Hey everyone, my name is Jeremiah Krakowski. Thanks for listening to the Grow Your Life podcast. If you're a coach, mentor, trainer, and you want to know how do I get more clients, make more money on the internet, I'm going to show you how to do that. In this podcast, I walk you through that process. Now, I want to talk about something I was talking about with my coaching group, the Wealthy Coach Academy, which, by the way, if you've not seen this or heard about it, I work with mentors, coaches, and trainers every single week to help them scale their businesses, make more money than they ever thought was possible with their marketing and sales strategy. And I come alongside you and walk you through that entire process, start to finish. I'd love to see you in there, and I'd love to work with you to help you reach 6 and even 7 figures in there. One of the biggest issues that people have is that they overplan themselves and they don't execute. They don't take action. They come up with an idea. They come up with multiple ideas. And I've been guilty of this myself, where I had a bunch of great ideas and stuff that I wanted to do in my business, but I didn't actually go out there and take action on it. And I find that oftentimes this actually has a lot more to do with dopamine than anything else. We end up becoming addicted to the process of planning, coming up with ideas, coming up with a good idea. And it's actually proven that our brain is wired in anticipation. Anything that we're anticipating, we end up loving and enjoying and getting pleasure from more than actually doing it. Because if we actually took action, we have to come face to face with the fact that, okay, what if it fails? What if it doesn't work out? What if things don't go how I wanted them to? And that becomes painful for us. And so you got to become aware of the fact that your brain does this. And that if you're a mentor or coach and you're wanting to launch a course or a coaching program, and you're struggling to actually get stuff out there, to actually get stuff launched, that part of it might be because you're not aware that this is going on, and you just feel like you're fighting it and striving past it. So one of the things that I like to do is this. I like to say, okay, I'm still going to enjoy the planning. I'm still going to enjoy, for me, it's learning. But I also need to take action. I need to take action on at least 2 things before I learn a new thing or before I plan a new thing. And what this will do is this will start to rewire that part of your brain to where you start to enjoy taking action, where you actually derive pleasure out of taking action versus just the anticipation of it. So I want you to become aware of this pattern in your life. Everything that you've ever wanted in your business is directly connected to your ability to execute and take action on the ideas that you have. The number one thing that stops people, again, perfectionism is a big part about it. It goes beyond just perfectionism. We've talked about that for the longest time. Perfectionism, we can't let that stop us from doing the things that we want to do. But let's say maybe you're not dealing with perfectionism, it just doesn't feel right. And you're especially somebody who's intuitive and you're waiting until something feels right. Well, here's where sometimes we get deceived a little bit by our internal chemicals and hormones. Dopamine, the different chemical messengers inside of our brains that tell us certain messages. And so we feel like, oh, it's going to be painful. It's a bad thing to take action. Our brain is subconsciously believing this message. And I'm saying this as somebody who literally has dealt with this on a very deep level, and it's affected my ability to be able to reach my goals until I became aware of it. And I started to unravel, what can I do to change this? And so one of the ways that I actually did was I would go into ChatGPT, and the new version of ChatGPT 03 or above 03 is great. I would explain what I'm dealing with. Hey, I'm struggling to take action. I have this here. Explain to me what's going on a psychological level, on a chemical level, and help me understand, and then what are some practical aspects and things that I can do to help me start to take action more rather than sitting around and doing stuff. And what I found was there's a couple of things. Number one, the reason why we struggle to take action, there's a great book that I read that I recommend that anybody reads called Indistractable. I really actually need to read it again because it's just to remind myself, it's been a couple of years of just the topic of it. But Indistractable right here, incredible book. And the topic that Indistractable is about what controls our attention and how to take it back. And one of the number one issues is that the reason why we get distracted or pulled away from things is because we're avoiding the potential pain that we experience if we stayed focused, if we actually did the work that we said that we're setting out to do. And then it dives deeper into what you can do to become more indistractable in your life. I bought this book during COVID when everything was distracting all of us. And it's been about 5 years since I've read it, but I still think back to it all the time when it comes to this topic. If you can start to pinpoint, okay, what are the triggers inside of me? What is the pain? What are the fears? What are the underlying? And by the way, you're not just going to answer it right now while you're listening to this podcast. It's usually going to be something that's deeper, that is going to be your brain. For those of you who want to understand this side of things, your brain actually hides it from you. It hides the actual real reason why we're doing this from us. It's a self-protective mechanism that is actually happening in our brains that does this. That it keeps us safe by not revealing to us why the root cause of certain things happen. But many times it can go back to an experience that we're trying to avoid, or something that we saw happen to somebody else that we don't want to happen. You know, listen, if you get stung by a bee, you're not going to stick your hand into a beehive. If you get burnt on a hot stove, you're not going to touch that hot stove again. And it's the exact same way when it comes to our businesses. And yet it's usually like 3 or 4 layers deep as to why we're actually doing that. And that's where it kind of becomes a bit of a challenge to really identify, okay, why am I doing this? Why are my actions following this? Why am I so strongly avoiding this thing? Why am I not doing the thing that I need to do? And I can look at my life. Listen, I got things I have been procrastinating for an entire week on something that I need to do, something that I need to submit in my business, in my life, that I need to get done. I have something else I've been procrastinating for an entire month that I've not done. And I can look at it and it's like, well, you know, what if it doesn't work out? What if it's harder than I thought it would be? What if there's details that I don't want to know right yet because they're going to cost me more time or money? And so all of these things, gosh, it's overwhelming, right? It's overwhelming because we don't want to look at those things. And that's what it's less painful to procrastinate and not do the thing than to just simply do it. And internally it starts to feel like we start to get nauseous even and a headache, and we start to feel ugh. And that's oftentimes when we decide to go do something else to distract ourselves from that pain, that internalized pain. And so, listen, I'm not perfect in this, I promise you that. But I have learned at least the first step is to become aware that it's happening. To become aware that you're doing this. To become aware that it's going on. We all do this. We're humans. It's how humans operate. We're not robots. Thank God. And yet, oftentimes we don't know why this stuff is happening. And just by becoming aware of it, just by sitting and saying, okay, what am I feeling right now when I think about going to do that thing? When I think about doing that thing, what feels so difficult? And again, often it could literally just be you start to feel a nausea inside of you. Maybe you don't want to be judged or scrutinized or something like that, or there's some other underlying issue. We all have different ones. They're all different reasons. And yet at the end of the day, this right here is one of the number one reasons why we don't take action on the stuff that we've set out to do in our lives and in our business. Simply because we're playing this waiting game. We're playing this, well, I'll do it next time game. The time is now to take action. If not now, when? And that will change everything for you, having that perspective. Listen, I'd love for you to not wait and delay on joining my Wealthy Coach Academy program. I know maybe you've been hearing about it. You've been putting it off for a long time. Take action. Jump in, register for one of our trainings where we talk about it. You can go check one out in the description below, and I'd love to have you be a part of it. Just try it out for 14 days and see if it's for you. See you in there. We'll talk soon.